Weeks before I left Colorado, I knew India would be a life-changing experience. At every thought of departure, my stomach fluttered with butterflies. The butterflies could have emerged out of nervousness or excitement, but their continued movement was a quiver associated with fear. Was I afraid of finding myself in this world, or afraid of losing myself within it? Or perhaps I was fearful of the transformation I might possibly encounter amongst the rawness of the world. Despite my possible fear, when the first plane rose from the runway, the butterflies in my stomach vanished and were instead replaced with comfort and gratitude. As the trip became reality in midair, thousands of feet above the ground, all of my anxiety built up over the last semester turned into bliss. Tears bubbled in my eyes, and an infinite longing for adventure and global insight surrounded me. After 3 days of traveling, we finally made it to our destination. During the first sundown in Bhopal, I looked into the sky, witnessing the glowing yellow sun, the same sun that would be instead rising back home on the other side of the world. I was able to catch the last glimpse of the sun immersed in a painting of twilight, within just enough time to watch it disappear underneath a blanket of smog lining the horizon. India is known as Incredible India. Incredible is something unbelievable and seemingly impossible. India is exactly this, an unbelievable experience of the entire world, all within one country. It is a land of extreme contrast as far as the eyes can reach, a country ready to awaken the wildest dreamer in any soul. It is filled with colorful culture, ancient history, spirituality, and exquisitely built artwork and temples. The streets and traffic operate in an organized chaos, with as many modes of transportation, pedestrians, and cows crammed into the streets as possible. India is never quiet and never sleeps. There is always some type of horn going off at all hours of the night, and stray dogs can be heard barking into the wee hours of the morning. About midway through our time at the Sambhavna Clinic, we were given the opportunity to go out into the slum communities with the health educators and learn firsthand how our health education materials would benefit the affected communities. The Union Carbide factory still stands just walking distance from the slums, and it wasn't until 2011, 27 years after the gas tragedy, that a clean water pipe was constructed in the city of Bhopal by the Indian government. But the slums don't necessarily have the luxury of this clean water, and runoff from the factory still flows directly into their groundwater. The slums were assembled amongst a set of active train tracks, in the midst of what most Americans would describe as a dump, a place capable of generating immense insecurities and uncomfortable fears. As I crossed the train tracks, swarms of flies buzzed around what I wasn't sure was goat or human feces. Surrounding the train tracks, where 50 trains passed by at full speed every day, shack-style houses just feet from the tracks were built out of wooden pallets, scrap metal, rubbish, and blankets. In the middle of this city, in this slum community, I for a moment felt like I was on a farm. There were chickens, goats, and cows wandering around freely, and children held baby goats and rabbits as if they were pets. The children flocked to me as if I was a celebrity, wanting me to take their picture. Even in the slums, every color in the color wheel was splattered across the horizon as clothing hung out to dry. And even amongst the dirt, the Indian women were clean and looked so immaculate, dressed in their bright and colorful saris and scarves. Despite the vast poverty and the piles of filth in the middle of the streets, India is encapsulated with a delicate and indescribable elegant beauty. This was one of my most favorite experiences in India, immersed in the rawness of the real world within the Nawab slum community of Bhopal, just walking distance from the still standing and still polluting Union Carbide factory, but safe in the company of Massaret, Nasir, and Rajiv, the 3 community health educators from Sambhavna Trust. Everywhere I visited throughout India, my experience was that of kindness, generosity, open arms, and smiles. Before I knew it, my short trip to India was coming to an end. As I watched our movement on the flight map at 38,000 feet above sea level, in transit from New Delhi to New York City, it was there that I realized this world is so much bigger than I ever could have imagined.